Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting for Thursday, June 15th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are a few more seats open up front here if anyone would like to come in from the hallway. There were no executive sessions held. Past meeting minutes for approval.
I've got one.
I just saw one mistake on page 2 at the top there. It says Chad Stevens Fire Company. Should be Chad Weaver, Stevens Fire Company. So I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for June 1st with that change.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have 2 presentations tonight. The first one, I'll give the floor to Interim Chief Steve Savage for a letter of commendation.
Thank you. Before I recognize one of our officers, I would like to introduce Kevin Wolf from the Effort Ambulance Association. He's going to give a short brief of a synopsis of what happened that morning.
Thank you, Steve. We were dispatched to 10 Summit Drive in East Cocalico Township, and this would have been on April 30th of this year. We were covering for Reeves County Ambulance. They were on another call, and we were dispatched for chest pain, and we arrived on the scene. East Cocalico Township Police Officer Joseph Doherty was there, along with the paramedics from the hospital. And as our crew arrived, they were getting the litter out, and all of a sudden the patient went into cardiac arrest. So they got him on the litter, started CPR right away, and like I say, he used the AED several times, shocked him, and of course he will be walking in the room here shortly, which is great, since we had a clinical save. That's why I'm here. We have a presentation that we're going to allow Timothy Props, who was a patient, to present to both the officer and both my EMTs. This is Timothy right here. Paul and Josh, come on up. And like I say, whenever we have a clinical save, we put in paperwork to the Emergency Health Services Federation, which is a liaison between us and the Department of Health. And we put it in for the EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, and police officers that were on scene, so long as the patient is able to leave the hospital. In this case, Timothy, we're glad to see you here, and glad you're one of the statistics that was positive for us. With the clinical save commendation that I have, we're going to have Timothy present them. But one thing I want to note, that for the paramedics and EMTs and emergency responders, they were given a save pin that they can wear on their uniform if they wish, in regards to showing that they participated with a clinical save. And they receive one. So once you have your clinical safe PIN, you know, you do get a commendation letter every time from the Federation. So,
Thank you, Officer Doherty. Not only do I thank you, but my family, my children, and my grandchildren. Thank you.
Of course.
then Josh Long here was the EMT in the back. Josh, again, helped the paramedic with treating the patient. And I do want to add, Mr. Officer Doherty actually rode along with us to the hospital through the event. So he really went up and beyond, you know, what you could have done that day. So again, we thank you as Effort Ambulance also. Josh Long was in the back, again with the paramedic treating. Unfortunately, the paramedic that was on the call is on vacation. So he was not able to attend tonight. But again, Josh was in the back treating. And Paul Lemmerman did an important job with driving that day. And the other thing I have then is for Officer Savage, Chief Steve Savage. I'm going to read this real quick. The Emergency Health Service Federation would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you for EMS and the excellent care provided to a citizen in our response area. April 30th, 2023, a call received for a patient in cardiac arrest. Through your quick response and combined 911 system, AED, CPR, BLS efforts, and continued ALS care, the patient was successfully resuscitated, transported to the hospital where they received further care, and are understanding they're home and doing well. Were it not for the quick response with the use of the AED and CPR, the dispatch of the 911 system, and then BLS ALS service, the patient may have never had a chance of survival. We'd like to congratulate you for your special efforts. We condemn you and your commitment to the community through working with the emergency service system, supporting the EMS programs in the county. Time is a crucial factor when dealing with a cardiac arrest. The sooner someone can be dispatched and defibrillated capability, the better the chance of survival. With help from the emergency response team, practitioners, we will continue to fight the battle against sudden cardiac death. This comes sincerely, C. Stephen Lyle, Executive Director of Emergency Health Services Federation. So again, thank you, Steve.
So I would like Mr. Probst to award Officer Doherty this letter of commendation. As police officers, there's no greater task that we can do than to save someone's life. So for this, I'm awarding Officer Doherty the letter of commendation.
Paper of record. Yeah, go ahead. It's up to you guys. Normally they do. Doherty family could come forward for a picture if they'd like with Officer Doherty. Thank you all for what you guys do as well for the community and responding as well, East Cocalico. Thank you.
Take care.
Well, it's always good to know that our police department goes above and beyond for our community. That's a positive note. Thank you, sir. All right, moving on, we have a presentation from CMB Development.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Mark Cuck. I'm here on behalf of CMB Development. That's a tough act to follow. It kind of puts everything in perspective. So gives you a really good, warm feeling. So, gentlemen, I'm here this evening to basically kind of present CMB. My clients are with me this evening, Andy Baldo, Mr. Matt Close, Mr. Rich Close. This group of gentlemen makes up CMB Development. I think you're probably familiar with these gentlemen. They've been in front of you a couple of times over the last several months. We are respectfully requesting this evening that you submit a petition that we have provided to you to rezone 756 Game and School Road. You're probably familiar with this property as a Steve Market Farm, and we have been in front of the board a couple of times with this request. You should all have a packet of information, including the petition, basically a dashboard, and I'm assuming you're all pretty much familiar with where we are. I would like to basically present some of the finer points of our application for you, and we'd be hoping that you'd then be willing, after this presentation, to forward our petition one to your planning commission and your solicitor and your engineers for review, and hopefully give us the opportunity to have a hearing on that project. So with that, the project does consist of about 43.6 acres. We're proposing to subdivide 23.3 of those acres off, and that's adjacent to the existing industrial site. We're requesting that you consider rezoning that portion of the property from ag to industrial. So with that said, Mr. Steve Martin, could I ask you to step up here for a minute just to talk to the board a little bit? So I think you probably all know Mr. Martin is the property owner, and Mr. Martin, thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate that. Good to see you. So I wanted to just point out a couple of the items with the property. I mean, the biggest issue, Mr. Martin, that I'd like you to explain to the board is this particular piece of your property that we're talking about. Is that really a farmable piece of property? Is it a productive agricultural parcel?
We managed to stay there for quite a while, and it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the most difficult farming grounds in Lancaster County. It's clay, a red clay. Muddy Creek is named after pretty much our type of soil. When it runs off, we get a reddish, brownish color.
You would explain to me that that ground just doesn't hold the water, right? It's
Exactly,
just
yeah. The texture is fine, and to have a good soil, you need a good structure. And what that does, there's cavities in there, and the earthworms and the night water can do their thing, and it holds water. And what happens, we don't hold water and it's fine, and it's poorly drained with the fragile underneath with clay. When it fills up with water, you have what you lose your nitrogen. Nitrogen is a very important part of growing anything, wheat, corn, and what happens is gas is off. You have what's called denitrification.
Can you explain to the board, I mean, the amounts of nitrogen that you have to apply to this particular property, has it increased over the years?
Well, we try to keep it to the minimum. Before I left the union, we just got a full buggy load again. And we already applied about 1,800 gallons with the planter on the road. And unfortunately, we had dry weather, too dry, and we kept most of that. But we get a lot of rain, we're going to use it. It's inevitable. But if you don't reapply it and keep after it, you won't get any problem.
Have the yields on this particular piece of property we're talking about, the 23.6 acres you're proposing to sell, have they dropped over time?
You mean as far as yield?
The yields of your
Well,
crops?
we're learning how to handle it, and very important not to use tillage or minimum tillage, that helps. But I'm there 20 years, and our average year yield, is around 125, 130, 100 bushel an acre for corn, and soybeans only 40 to 43. Occasionally have more, but it doesn't really do better now. You know, you can put a lot of manure on, and that helps. What happens is it just raises your phosphorus.
Mr. Martin, have you reached the conclusion, and your property has been owned by your family since about 1948, as I understand?
I looked that up today, and it's actually 1951, and I just want to mention this. I have deeds for that farm since 1937. From 1937 to 1951, that's a span of 14 years, if I'm my calculation right. There were 5 landowners, 5 owners of that farm. They never stayed home.
And so you're the second generation. Obviously, you have some children and you think that this particular piece of property will stay productive or remain productive into the future?
It's not going to change. It's there. It was there hundreds of years ago. It's the same. It does not rain.
To kind of put a point to it in a nutshell, you're having a hard time making it go up. Is that fair?
Well, fortunately, we have good neighbors, and they rent us ground. We have a couple of fields there real well drained, like Shook Road, and the Fox Farm across the highway from me that's owned by I think Grande Construction. I guess that's in the township now. If we lose that, that's going to really hurt us. That is sand, more of a sandy ground and well drained. We can do pretty good on that one. Yeah. Last year it was dry in August, it was poor. Some years it's 180 bushel. Last year it was like barely 100 bushel.
So the point that we're obviously requesting the board to take note of is that the agricultural nature of this 23.6 acres, is this good farmland or not?
No.
It's not.
I mean, anybody that doesn't understand what I'm saying, they're quite welcome to come, and I'll walk them across the field and I'll show them exactly what we're doing.
And you,
It's obvious. The pumping station there is right on the farm, sewage lift. And we used to have heifers on there, and we were told to get the heifers off. It's not fit.
so those are two other little items just to point out for the board. Historically, one of the impacts to your farm in the past, in about 1972, was the 222 right-of-way. Is that right?
Yeah, they took 13 acres off. Yeah. And it was a good thing. My dad was poor and paid for it.
So you lost about 13 acres there and separated the farm. That was the one issue that happened.
Yeah, we were short of it, real short.
And then obviously the township went ahead and condemned the pumping station property from you, which is about 1.2 acres.
That was actually done in 2001, I think, and my brother owns the farm. My dad sold it to my youngest brother, and he couldn't make it. He moved to Iowa, and he was really successful out there, and he sold the farm to us. I've been here 20 years.
Mr. Martin, thank you. Gentlemen, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a picture of this particular piece of property and the impacts to it. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Martin?
Thank you.
All right, so basically with that, I do want to point out that we have been working on this project pretty actively, pretty passionately. We do have support letters from both Representative Zimmerman He's definitely in favor of this proposed rezoning. We've also been in contact with the school district, and the school district as well is also very much in favor of this. And I think kind of telling the last piece of that puzzle is that the Lancaster County Planning Department has also given us a very favorable response with respect to potentially rezoning this piece of property. So I wanted the board to know that we've been trying to, gather our support. We've been pretty successful in doing that. So with that, I'd like to have a little bit of explanation and testimony from two of our members this evening to share with you the highlights and some of the high points of what we're looking to do. So what we're asking you to do is kind of think of this, zoom out to like 30,000 feet up in the air and just take a big look. Andy, when you look at this property from that 30,000 foot zone, what do you see and what can you explain to the board? What makes this a perfect candidate, in our opinion, for rezoning to a restaurant?
Sure, we've tried to provide a lot of detail in the package that we presented to the board. And I just want to highlight, we're not going to reiterate it, but just to highlight two quick things on this scope of it. It's the regional network. Who serves this area? What highways serve this area? 222, 76, 283. We're fortunate that this property here is at the convergence of two of those highways that serve this county. So from a regional perspective, it appears to be, to us, at the intersection of highways that make sense for this type of development. There was Lancaster County Planning Department prepared a document called Places 2040. And we're going to refer to this a couple times because we view this as their vision of the growth and the plan. So from the regional perspective, I want to quote something from that. It says, vacant parcels with infrastructure and highway access need to be reserved for commercial and industrial areas and should be developed to provide long-term economic and social benefits to the community. We have the intersection of highways there. We have the highest and best use, which is heard from the farmer, and it's something different than farming. And we have public utilities there. So from a regional perspective, we think it's a pretty good fit.
Obviously, if you gentlemen are paging through what I call the dashboard, which was provided to you, you can start to work through some of these handouts and see what we're talking about. Andy, when you then take kind of a deeper dive into it, right, so now you're from 30,000 feet up to more of the geographic area, when you look at what's going on in East Cocalico and how it was laid out, what are your observations there?
All right, so if you turn to page 3, which is the East Cocalico Township Geographic Use Overview, I think this shows the ellipses show a pretty good location or area extent of, the white is higher density residential areas, and the red is sort of the corridors of economic development with regards to industrial uses of warehousing. As you can see where our property is located is with the red ellipse, and it's isolated from the larger, more densely located residential areas. So I think that adds to the credence of, our request for rezoning of partial use of this property.
Kind of in a nutshell, Andy, I mean, it fits right into what's already in existence. Is that kind of
And
the way
what
you look at
others
it?
are saying, right? We're leading on guidance from the county, and this sort of fits that.
So, and so thank you. So if you take a look historically and you do a little bit, like I said, a deeper dive into the history of the property, Matt, I think you've done some research on the zoning and prior zoning. Can you give the board a little bit of insight into what you found there, please?
Yeah, and when we first started looking at the property, we really tried to uncover every stone, and we reached out to the Lancaster County Planning Department because we had found that the property was previously zoned industrial in 2002, and they did confirm that at that time the property was zoned industrial prior to a large zoning map change that essentially took East Cocalico Township and increased the ag zoning by 273%. And a direct quote from the Lancaster County Planning Department is, 20 years later, the department recognizes the importance of both industrial and agricultural zones. Our Places 2040 Growing and Responsibly Urban Workshop Analysis has highlighted your parcel as a highly developable site. So, we felt like it was a great opportunity, and as Andy's outlined, why we're requesting rezoning, but we also don't want to just take our word for it. We've tried to reach out to as many governing bodies as possible to understand that perspective as well.
And Matt, the support has been pretty pretty positive, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. One other point you outlined is the proposed rezoning. When we take a look at the Cocalico Regional Comprehensive Plan, it's also basically in line with that. Is that
It
right?
aligns with the Cocalico Regional Comprehensive Plan and the Places 2040 outline prepared by legislative plan.
And so, gentlemen, I think you're familiar with this farm and also with the fact that we have proposed not to rezone the entire property, but roughly a half, 23.6 acres. So when you took a look at that map, I mean, that was something you considered,
We
right?
did. So when we first engaged the property owner, we wanted to be tactical about our rezoning, and we opted to subdivide the parcel for really a few reasons. One, it creates an easy extension of the already existing light industrial zoning district. The portion of the property that we're requesting rezoning neighbors in light industrial zoning parcels. It also allows the current farm to remain a farmstead per ordinance requirements, which was important to us given the relationship we built with Mr. Martin.
And just as a quick touch on that, I mean, the property you're proposing to subdivide is all vacant property at this
Correct.
point. It's
It
none of the
doesn't
farm
impact
buildings.
his farm or his home. And then the last part is, we realized that this property borders the township line, so we did not want to propose anything that would potentially disrupt the agricultural nature of the area along the township line or on the other side of the township line.
Gentlemen, I would submit to you that, and Matt, you can back me up on this, but as you take a look at the existing ordinance for the ag, I mean, other than the farmland, there really isn't any other use under that ag zoning district. I mean, could you use this for retail really when you get
Right, I
down
mean,
to it?
as you can see in some of the earlier slides, this property can't be used for anything other than really industrial development or farming. I mean, you could potentially put residential development there, but from a commercial standpoint, a large retail user wouldn't be interested in being located in this portion of the township.
Kind of, just in a summary of that particular part of the presentation, I mean, when you come right down to it, gentlemen, I mean, this is practically a logical extension of your existing light industrial zone onto this potential piece of property. So there are some significant benefits, we think, to the township in particular when you take a look at this project. Matt, did you run a calculation of the potential tax impact for the township?
Yeah, we did. So we analyzed the Acme Distribution Center right down the street, and it looked at the assessed value and applied that ratio to our project. Obviously, the numbers we provide are estimates, but they're very accurate and we're very confident that the numbers will be in that range. On an annual basis, our project would generate in the ballpark of $330,000 in annual tax revenue across township, county, and the school district.
And you're taking that as a pretty conservative analysis,
It is.
am I right?
So we looked at strictly off of a cost analysis, just the raw cost of developing the project and then applied the assessment value. The reality is it likely would assess higher than the raw cost.
And you've done this in several other buildings, and you've been, I think, fairly accurate with those estimates, am I correct?
Yeah.
And then, so when you break that down, gentlemen, when you take a look at the township's portion of it, that's about $24,000. The school tax would be about $264,000, and then the county's portion would be about $39,000. So we think that's at least something worth noting, and something that would help to offset some of the residential development that you have coming very clearly in your pipeline. Matt, a rough estimate of job creation, what do you think there?
Yeah, we estimate that this project would create about 215 jobs, and that's a very conservative estimate based on industry standards.
And that's over several shifts, obviously,
Correct.
right? So, and your hope is that those would be local residents applying for those jobs and not
Correct.
actually a benefit to the community in that fashion as well. Gentlemen, we'd very much like you to consider this application. We would like an opportunity to present a full-blown presentation to you at a hearing. At that point, I would like to ask if anybody has any questions for us. We certainly will do our best to answer those for you.
I
have one question. You had mentioned, just for clarification in my mind, you had mentioned the potential tax impacts and the benefits. But you referenced that off of cost of construction,
Correct.
not assessed.
Correct.
Okay,
So no, we took the cost of construction and then applied the assessed value. So
got it.
without getting into the weeds, we took the Acme Distribution Director House has recently sold for simple terms, $10. The publicly available assessed value is $4. So that's a 40% of the sale price. And the publicly available millage rates, we then use that 40% assessed value of our total cost to apply. So the reality is we're actually significantly undercutting what that assessed value is at the beginning.
Right, that's exactly what I was thinking around. So when you modeled it, that's how you modeled it, which
Exactly.
more than likely is going to be significantly less.
Our cost, you're saying?
No, the actual tax
The
number.
tax dollars would be a conservative estimate.
It's a
Yeah,
conservative-
it's-
it's
It should be,
conservative.
it'll likely be more than what we're actually stating.
Sorry.
That's the
Right,
point I think you were.
right, right.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
So I'd say, I did see a letter from Mr. Zimmerman that you had mentioned. And who were the other ones you said?
The superintendent of the school district, as well as the Lancaster County Planning Department.
So, Mr. Chairman, our discussions with the superintendent, Dr. Alan Musser, with the school board, and then with the Lancaster County Planning Department, we had conversations with John Hershey and Scott Standish, I think, is that right on that?
Correct.
And those were very positive responses.
And just, obviously, just another question, because obviously, as you guys were talking, I was taking notes.
I understand.
The reason why you guys only want a portion of it and not the whole property, why?
So, I
I'll
can,
answer
go
that.
ahead.
I mean, it's pasture land, the rest, except a building and pasture, which is useless for building on there. Our plan is doing a couple greenhouses, maybe that's it. There's no farmland left anymore after this subdivision, hardly anything.
So, Mr. Chairman, when you look at how the farm lays out, that particular portion of the farm is kind of a natural area. It's all either cropland and a portion of pasture, I think you had mentioned, over by the Muddy Creek.
The Muddy Creek, there.
The creek is in there, so
It's down at the end.
down at the end, correct. I actually have a, I think I have something to show you if you want to see.
No, I'm good, I'm
You're
good.
good, okay.
And also the barrier between the townships, frankly. We thought it was an easier ask if we would not extend the new use, the proposed use, all the way to the township law.
Allows all the farm buildings, all of the ag that's already there, Mr. Martin uses to stay in place, and he can continue to use that for ag
And
purposes.
it allows his farm to remain a farmstead, so he can stay in the clean and green for tax purposes. I mean,
That was the reality,
Yeah.
that was it.
the reality is, you know, we wanted to work with him and didn't want to impose on the township line. More acreage is better for us, so we were looking at how we can make this the best possible outcome for everyone.
You had mentioned the pump station portion that was in the taking was approximately 1.2
That's
acres.
my understanding, yes.
Just approximately.
Approximately, yes.
And then the 222 corridor.
Approximately 13 acres. From one end to the other. That was a big take.
Mhm.
1972, I think you told me, Mr. Martin? The PennDOT taking was 1972, I think?
Yeah, it's 71, 72.
And the last thing I'll add on that topic, I've talked to Mr. Martin about it a lot, and it's very much so an opinion, but there's also factual evidence that the expansion of 222 and the expansion of the pumping station has allowed development to occur in what the county now recognizes as the gateway for Lancaster County. It's So in a lot of ways, Mr. Martin's property has enabled development to occur throughout Lancaster County, and he's now looking for his property to also be able to be developed.
I will be blunt and honest. I'll go on the record, instead of keep going around and around. At the last couple meetings ago, we had the same presentation for about a warehouse as well. And I've said it, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't want to turn into Carlisle with warehouses everywhere. I know there's a financial gain for the school districts and brings jobs to our area. That's great. We're in the prime location for it, 222, 76, everything. Everything's right here. But sometimes things make sense, sometimes they don't. This is one of those that it gets me thinking. I'm not going to say yes or no tonight to move forward for a petition personally. This is one of those that I'd like to do my own research on personally and digest it in a way, prior to making a decision. And that I'm speaking for myself. If the board decides differently, then that's, so be it.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your candor, I really do. I'd love the opportunity to give you a full-blown presentation with all the facts and bells and whistles if we can do that. So if there's anything we can do to help convince you to just give us a shot, I mean, I'd love to do that for you. I think we can give you a lot more information, but I can't do it if we don't get a hearing, and we can bring whatever you want.
Understood.
And we tried to provide, it's a difficult decision, we understand that, we tried to provide enough initial background to give the flavor of it in our documentation, in our presentation, but we're here to answer questions, over the next however long it takes.
I appreciate that.
I'm of the opinion, similar to Lorenzo's, but it's very different based on the geography. I'm of the opinion that the one thing I don't want to see is warehouses along some of the main but could be prime commercial corridors. So, you never want to see a warehouse on Main Street. You never want to see a warehouse on a main corridor in the housing developments, right? The geography on this property for myself, not having a farming background, but you're the subject matter expert in that one, and hearing what you're saying, Mr. Martin. I look at it from the geography. The geography for warehousing, now that you've added that this is a farm that really can't be farmed anymore, it's very difficult. The return on the investment is extremely difficult. This is, to me, an ideal geographic location because of where it's located and the already existing businesses that are up in that area that are warehousing, such as Acme, such as New Holland Transport, the other warehouse that was just put in along
Pet Food Experts.
Pet Food Experts, and then the one right next to it. That's right, the Catalyst. So this makes sense because that flow of traffic, the geography makes a lot of sense to me. Because I would imagine anyone renting or leasing this long-term, the size of those companies, they would be heading straight to 222 or the PA Turnpike. They're not interested in driving through neighborhoods. Right? That's my thoughts. The project makes sense. From a geographic perspective, it makes sense for myself, and just to say it again, especially now understanding or hearing the farming side of it, which I had no idea about. I just don't have a background in it. It further adds to the, otherwise it's a piece of property that's just going to sit there dormant forever. could bring a lot of benefits to the community.
Factually speaking, I guess, I have agricultural zone land too, and I'm a preservation advocate. And I preserve my land for perpetuity.
Understand.
I'll leave it at that.
What I'd like to do is I'll make a motion. If you want more information, a lot more details, Lorenzo, I'll make a motion to accept and refer out for a review of the petitions to the rezoning property at Stony Hill Road and Gaming School Road as submitted by C&B Development. Let's get more detail, let's get a lot more information. All we're doing is referring it out.
But I also don't want to lead them on and think everything's okay and I'm not sure yet and they're going to be spending money. I don't think it's the right thing to do. Personally. I'm just being straight up honest.
Mr. Chairman, I can't ask for anything
That's
more.
Yeah, that's how we are today.
If I were to second the motion right now and I'm not 100%, I'm a business owner as well. I don't want to be led on and spend money upon money upon money and then hit a stone wall. Personally, and I don't do that to other people.
I really appreciate that position, and the only flip side to that argument is I may be able to present the information you're looking for. And so, if I can't get it in front of you in front of a hearing, how do I get it to you otherwise? I guess, that's kind of what the whole process is about, the hearings are for, and gentlemen, you're sitting here and it's your money we're talking about. Would you like the opportunity to present it, knowing that we're not 100%?
Of course, that's why we're here, you know, I respect what you're saying. Trust me, we've been in a lot of positions where folks don't talk like that.
You know, that's refreshing.
Yeah, that's how we are the same way, you know. If we'd like the opportunity, if you need some time to figure it out, but we're here to ask for that opportunity to present.
And we're willing to take that risk, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate though very much your candor in stating it that way.
Lorenzo, we're not making a commitment. We're not saying yes. We're just saying move forward and make it, take a look at it.
I don't like fooling people.
You're not, you're about as clear and transparent as we could ask for.
Well, yeah, I guess,
We're stuck.
what would be the other option? Right?
Table it.
Then we have to come back here and ask again for a resolution, or could you decide later, if you choose to go favorably, then that's it, or we come back here again to ask for the resolution we present? And I don't know the sequence.
You would not need to be here for the board to consider the limited motion of referring it to the planning commission.
Would we have to wait till the next meeting?
It would have to be at a public meeting, correct?
Okay.
If the board is inclined to proceed in that direction, then RC's motion has not been seconded. So the floor is open to another motion. The motion would be to table consideration postponing to your next meeting, and at this point, I know we have a discussion about July. Is our first meeting in July certain?
No. It has not been voted on.
Okay.
Our next meeting-
Yeah.
Our next meeting would be the 20th of July. That's the one, that's the advertising.
Okay. So whatever you choose to do, the motion would be to table to the next meeting of the board, and then it would automatically be on the agenda, but you would not need to be here if that's the only consideration.
Understood, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I actually know if they want to hear the same spiel again at this time, so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But if there's anything additional.
Yeah,
We're here.
you could be invited to attend.
Okay, no, fair enough. Fair enough.
And if there is anything additional, we welcome the opportunity to present it, provide it, give you whatever it is might be helpful.
Personally, that's where I'm at.
I understand. But if you could give me some indication of what information you might like it, we can get it for you. Or if we can't, we can't. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we're asking for, Mr. Chairman, is a fair shake and an opportunity to try to convince you that this is what we really believe is a good project for both us clearly and for the township and for the.
Let's provide
Fair enough.
required information because he needs to understand.
And whatever your decision is at this moment, we appreciate it, so.
Thanks for your time.
We have their contact information.
Absolutely.
I'll personally, I have a few things that I want to go over myself, and then I'll have the manager reach out, and my motion will be to table it for the next meeting.
Fair enough.
Yeah?
I'll second that.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We know you have a full agenda tonight, so we don't want to belabor the point. So thank you, we really appreciate it. We look forward to coming
Thank
back and giving you what else we can start with you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving on, action items. I'd like to welcome our interim engineer, Mike from Technicon. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to appreciate the appointment by the board. I look forward to working with you all, hopefully beyond a few months, but we'll start with the first few months and go from there, so I appreciate it. Item number one tonight is the 10 Brenners Grove Road. There's a motion to approve the stormwater management and easement agreement. This is a single-family dwelling construction on a lot of record that requires stormwater management. The solicitor prepared an agreement, and that's what's before you for action this evening. Are there any questions related to that project or item?
I do not. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve and record a stormwater management and easement agreement for stormwater improvements to be installed at 10 Bruners Grove Road.
I will second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next item would be 35 Keeler Avenue. This was a stormwater project that was started under the previous engineer. We conducted a final inspection, and there is a motion before you to release in full the remaining security for that. I believe the amount of the remaining security was $4,700. Again, that was a single-family dwelling construction on an existing lot of record.
I'll make a motion to release in full security posted for stormwater improvements installed at 35 Keeler Avenue.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is 1339 Red Run Road. This is for the Zysit property. This is existing single-family dwelling. They constructed a landscaping business with parking area that requires stormwater management. We reviewed the as-built plans, and there is a release on the table tonight for motion to release in full the security in the amount of $30,274.85 for that project.
I'll make the motion to release in full security posted for stormwater improvements installed at 1339 Ren Run Road.
I'll second that. Is there any questions from the
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Are there any questions? No? Move forward.
Aye.
Thank you. The last item that I have tonight is 141 North Reevestown. This is a minor subdivision that's requesting additional time under the municipality planning code until October the 9th. They've submitted a plan. We are in the process of reviewing that. However, additional time is needed under the MPC.
Okay. I'll make a motion to extend the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code review period for 141 North Reevestown Road, land development 2023-03 to October 9th of 2023.
I'll second that. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Happy Father's Day, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, next on our list is the township building lease. Tom?
Yes, for the board's consideration this evening, a lease between the township and the township authority. The township will be leasing a portion of the township building to the authority, 25-year term. The board had discussed this option when addressing how to reimburse the authority for the improvements the authority is making to the township building. Recall that the authority is investing approximately $700,000 into the township building for various improvements. And the authority board and the board of supervisors thought a long-term lease on favorable terms to the authority was a sensible way to see that reimbursement. This agreement was before the authority board on May 30th, at which time the authority board did approve the agreement. The agreement was reviewed by both the authority board solicitor and township solicitor.
And I believe the agreement, there was really no substantial changes or material changes in the agreement from the past agreements. It's pretty
We
standard.
had a good starting point. It really just addresses the larger space and terms, the financial terms.
Right.
So just so everyone knows, the lease that's in front of us would end in 2048, and it would be a no monthly fee, obviously paid back with free rent per se, and the total that the water authority is investing in our building is of $650,000. There is a clause in there, if we do sell the building, it does get prorated, so they get a portion of their money back. The reimbursement, they figured out it would be like $26,000 per year in a lease. So if we're 15 years in to the lease, we'd be paying them $26,000 times the 10 years back. Was checked out by council and everything. So I'd like to make a motion to approve a lease agreement with the East Cocalico Township Authority for office space at the East Cocalico Township building.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, we have a Recreation Board appointments, resignation.
The township received a letter of resignation from Gabby Dunn from her position with the Recreation Board. She was serving a term set to expire at this year's end.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Gabrielle Dunn from the Recreation Board.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Next is the Recreation Board appointments.
Over the last several weeks, we've had two residents interested in serving on the Recreation Board. And it is Michael Abate is the first, and Tara Erkinger is the second. And if the board so wishes, there are two vacancies on the Recreation Board at this time.
I think it's great that we get people from the community with interest to serve on our boards. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Michael Abate to the Recreation Board for a term expiring December 31st, 2023.
I'll second that.
Motion a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. And I'd like to make another motion to appoint Tara Erkinger to the Recreation Board for a term expiring December 31st, 2027.
I guess just for an informational tidbit here, Tara had been on the board previously, but then there was some kind of consideration that she needed to step aside for a while, but she missed it so much she wants to come back, so I will second that motion.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the action items, Board of Supervisors July meeting date. I don't know if you gentlemen have put much thought into if we need a meeting or not. Our next meeting would be about a month from today.
Well, I brought that up last meeting, just because, yeah, today's June 15th, and the next scheduled meeting is July 20th, more than 30 days out. You know, looking at calendar and any other necessary business that would have to take place, you know, in conversation with the manager, he said we're good. We shouldn't have anything pressing that has to be taken care of. So unless you gentlemen want to move forward, I'll withdraw my request.
How about we do a meeting July 4th at 8 a.m.?
That was pretty disrespectful.
I don't think we need a meeting in between, but I'm good either way. Yes, sir.
If I may, my name is Mike Deal with Mount Zion Baptist Church. I know our engineer and our building person has been talking to Tommy here today, and just with the shift in engineers and different things, some of our project has been kind of lingering there, and we're kind of anxious to, I think everything before you is pretty much finalized except for some minor comments on the review letter and stuff, and the engineer had not yet had a chance to get that before you. So respectfully, if we can have another meeting before another month out, because till we get your final approval and then everything turned around, you know, we're going to lose our excavator and his timeline. So if, you know, if at all possible, we would request a meeting prior to.
Yeah, so just for the board's overview, we received a response letter from the engineer for the applicant last Thursday, and Mike is reviewing that now. What we'll do normally to present to the board a resolution for final plan approval, we'll have comment back from the township engineer, and if it's in a form ready to be considered, the township solicitor will prepare the resolution approving the final plan. So those two things are still outstanding. If those have been completed, it would be considered tonight. I don't know how long it's going to take the township engineer to complete his review, so it might not be ready for the first week of July. Just to let you know, it wasn't ready for this evening, it might not be ready for the first week of July.
And I just pulled up Mike's email to me from this morning. Even if you were to have a completed review by early July and approve the plan at the July 6th meeting, we still have to complete the stormwater maintenance agreement. There's an easement that needs to be completed, and a few other of the documentation of that plan before a permit could be issued to proceed. So
the resolution can be conditioned upon those things being done, but breaking ground, as the solicitor noted, would require a paper shuffle that traditionally happens after approval.
So I can commit on behalf of myself and I'm sure Mike that we can have all of that done by your meeting of July, and the practical result of that is that the church loses no time, because either you approve it with the condition that that all gets done, or you approve it because it has all been completed.
So you're saying you'd be good by the first meeting of the month?
No, because we don't have Mike's final review yet. He forwarded it to me this morning for input as a solicitor, but typically you will approve a plan conditioned on all the documents being completed. typically, we don't spend the applicant's money to complete those documents until you've approved the plan. So what I'm saying is, if you approve the plan at the July 6th meeting, we would still be several weeks out until those documents are completed. We're willing to do that on the expectation that you will be approving this plan and you'll have everything wrapped up for the second meeting, or the second meeting date of July 20th. And the applicant has in fact lost the time.
So that they can prepare all the documents, have everything ready in a parallel path, so that there's no delay there.
Right.
Explain it simply.
I think I follow.
Simply, so then when we're here, the second meeting, let's call it the second meeting in July, then there's no delay.
And then there's building code. Have your construction plans been submitted?
Well, that was the other thing that Mr. Funk had asked is, can we, knowing that this is coming and should be approved, can we submit building plans prior to that?
What we ask folks who do wish to do that is they provide us with a waiver of the 30-day review clock for the commercial plan, and also an acknowledgement that should something not work its way as planned happen, any cost incurred by the township and the engineer be reimbursed for you for the review of the plan.
So you want to waive 30-day review period or something?
Yes.
Because we wouldn't complete the review until all of these other things are done,
Right.
although we would be doing the review.
Okay.
The ideal situation is with these parallel paths, everything comes together by the end of July for you. And that is not an uncommon thing to do, all at the applicant's risk.
I think the only other question we had was regarding, I don't know how it fits into the time frame. That's the only reason I'm asking, as far as the letter of credit or the escrow account amounts. I would think we would need that so we have it ready for the end of July.
So I'm not sure where that is.
My understanding was our engineer sent over something
Okay,
for
that was
review,
gonna be my
and it was
request.
not a final.
That would be part of the review letter from Technicon. I just wanted to make sure that we had at least some information that your engineer has
Yes.
provided the estimate. Okay, Mike went home too early. I'll follow up with him tomorrow on all this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So you guys want a July 6th meeting or not?
I withdrew my request.
All right. So one meeting in July, except for July 20th. Or scheduled meeting. Regular scheduled meeting.
And
That's it.
And we don't have to, there are actually no formalities to cancel a meeting, but this meeting hasn't even been scheduled.
Correct. We're just not,
We're
moving
following the advertised calendar.
Right. Had we advertised this meeting, there still are no formalities to cancel a meeting.
all right, moving on to the treasurer's report.
List of bills this evening. We have electronic list of bills in the amount of $88,151.13 for payroll with a pay period of May 21st to June 3rd. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
We have a general fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $170,386.05 for the week of June 8th of 2020. Any questions on that list? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We have a light fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $584.48 for the week of June 8th of 2023. Is there any questions there? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And next one, we have a general fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $64,822.19 for the week of June 15th of 2023. Is there any questions there? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And we have a light fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $324.14 for the week of June 15th of 2023. Any questions there? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's your treasurer's report tonight.
Thank you, sir. Department reports. Diamond?
Yes, thank you. During the month of May, I'd like to go over a few notable arrests. Our Williamstown man was charged with aggravated indecent assault without consent, indecent exposure, unlawful contact with a minor, corruption of minors. After a five-month-long investigation, he turned himself in and he was arraigned and released on unsecured bail. An Narvon man was charged with aggravated assault by vehicle while DUI, 2 counts of DUI, reckless driving, driving vehicle at safe speed. After officers investigated the 2-vehicle crash on State Route 222, northbound at mile marker 43.8. Several witnesses reported seeing a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed, swerving in and out of traffic, and then it swerved into a lane, striking a motorcycle. The motorcycle operator and his passenger sustained serious injuries. Both were transported to Reading Hospital. They were treated and discharged at a later time. Officers determined that the driver of the car was impaired, and a breath test indicated a blood alcohol concentration of 0.18%. So he was taken immediately to Lancaster County Central Booking and arraigned and committed to Lancaster County Prison. An East Cocalico man was charged with aggravated assault and 2 counts of simple assault after officers investigated a road rage incident right down the street of White Oak Road. There was a minor fender bender, and one subject was charged with retrieving a handgun from his vehicle and striking the other subject in the face with the gun, like pistol whipping. That man was arrested and arraigned in Lancaster County Central Booking and released on unsecured bail. Officers located 3 subjects in East Cocalico Township and took them into custody on outstanding arrest warrants. They were turned over to the issuing authorities. We did conduct 2 week-long speed studies in Denver Borough, one in the 500 block of Main Street. The posted speed limit there is 25 miles per hour. The highest speed recorded was 47. This is not like a traffic enforcement detail. This is just a detail where we set up a radar, and you'll see it when you drive by. It will say your speed is 45, and it's a 25 zone. That's what the speed study is. We did another one in the 300 block of South 4th Street in Denver Borough. Speed limit is 25 miles per hour, and the highest speed recorded was 63. Now, we did a traffic enforcement speed detail where we actually timed vehicles and stopped drivers and cited them for speeding. This was conducted in the 200 block of East Lancaster Avenue in Denver Borough. A total of 12 citations were issued for speeding violations. Again, the highest speed there was 58 and 25. And then we conducted a speed detail here in the township in the 400 block of Haunstown Road. A total of 13 citations were issued for speeding violations, and the highest speed there was 58 in a 35 mile per hour zone. And we responded to 590 calls during the month of May in East Cocalico Township, and we responded to 179 calls for service in Denver Borough during the month of May. And that concludes my report.
Sounds like a busy month.
It was busy. It's picking up. Some warm weather.
The weather is warm. Thank you. Anything to report on finance or public works? Building MS4?
I do have a couple items I can mention under MS4 if you'd like. We had a pre-application meeting with DEP, RES, which is the company doing the conservation project adjoining the township building. And we walked through the site and we discussed the DEP's permitting requirements for the project. So things are moving along. They were doing more surveying last week, and the final plan hasn't been developed, but we're getting closer to having that. The Reamstown sign that we had been restoring has been completed and is now installed on South Reamstown Road, adjoining the small stream that comes out of the Reamstown Memorial Park. And it came out very nicely. If you get a chance, take a look at it. And the final thing is that the post-planting residue checks for our FS4 farms, as the amount of ground cover that's left of plant material still on the ground protects it from erosion, has been completed, and we're on track with that program. So all of those were okay. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Ken.
Actually, Ken, a couple of them far exceeded the minimum requirements.
Yes.
Doubled it, so good job to them.
Thanks, Ken. Informational items, you guys got anything? New business? Old business, Act 172 tax credit for the volunteer emergency responders. Did you guys think of it, or I'd like to personally come up with a game plan from the township side to figure out what we're going to do to get this done for our first responders. Not sure if you guys have put any thought into it.
Yes, I have. Actually, last meeting I wanted to talk to Kelly Morgan, who made the presentation to the board and provided a lot of details that night. I had a couple areas where I wanted some clarification on, mainly the idea of standardizing, reporting to the township on that between the companies, that there be something consistent from each one of them, rather than different forms or different ideas there on how records have been kept. He said that was part of his thought process as well, that there'd be some standardization there. The other idea, was he provided some information to the board. I haven't seen it yet on some other municipalities in Pennsylvania and how they're approaching this. It sounds like there's a point system that somebody uses based on accumulating training and calls and fundraising in order to validate who's eligible and who isn't. There's a lot of different ways that this can be approached, was part of my takeaway from it. So I've got still some questions on how best to formulate this. Who would be eligible, who wouldn't be eligible, from my standpoint. So, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm anxious to see what, in writing, what Kelly has provided.
We didn't get that yet, right? Well, I didn't.
I have it.
I don't have anything.
No, I didn't get it either. It was just
I'm making sure I didn't miss anything.
no, it was just a brief description he gave me verbally of what's there. So, yeah.
Would you include in that list, you had mentioned, Jeff, in the last meeting, that you would hold, I guess, 11 or 14 different fire companies. Okay, could you provide us, the rest of the supervisors, a list of who those companies were that you talked to, just so as I'm trying to figure this out, analyze it, understand it, I just want to see, are we comparing apples to apples?
Yeah, well, the research was done, that's a different topic than what we're talking about here.
Right.
But, you know,
Related, in the grand scheme of things.
well, that's the insurance coverage on vehicles. This is tax credit for volunteers. So that's a little different ballgame than I thought. So, yeah, it was the 4 local companies in the Cocalico district, and it was an unscientific, what's the word I want to use, canvassing of other departments in the county. So, you know, I did my research on that, and I didn't ask Tommy or anybody else, so, you know, that's what I found. There was 14 companies in 10 municipalities, counting the 4 that are in the Cocalico district.
That are what?
That are paying for their own insurance coverage on their equipment. The companies are.
Need clarification. So we have no idea what the size of those companies are.
Yes, sir.
Chad Weaver, Stephen Farcom. Clarification on what you're calling equipment. There's a difference between equipment and apparatus.
Vehicles.
Okay, because we do carry our own equipment insurance. So we need to make sure we get these terms right. Because when you say equipment, every company's going to tell you they have insurance on that and they pay it themselves.
Excuse me. I'm using foreign tech.
Yeah, let's
terminology.
get a little bit more narrative.
No problem.
Apparatus.
Apparatus.
Vehicles, cars.
Just
trucks.
auto insurance.
Auto insurance, yeah. Commercial.
Well, you know, getting back to the Act 172, I'm in favor of going ahead with that. It's a matter of, for me, the details, who, what, when, where, how, all that kind of stuff. You know, I appreciate the outline that Kelly put together. There's some things that I would like to see maybe a little different there, and I need some clarification on, but the idea in general, I'm in favor of.
Any other questions?
I have a comment if possible.
Yeah, go ahead.
Donnie Stover, Smoketown Fire Company. Just giving you guys some information. Last night at the County Fire Chiefs Association, they said they're planning on our meeting in September to have not just the county commissioners there, but also some representatives there to discuss this with not just on the county side, but also on throughout the state as well. So I'm just giving that information, and if anyone would be interested in coming to that meeting, I can give you the information for that.
Could you understand what he said? So last night, the Lancaster County Fire Chiefs Association met. It would sound like in September, they're going to do a larger scale of this and try to present this and try to get this to become common statewide.
So
they're looking at a bigger initiative than what we're looking at here.
would it be some kind of standardized proposal with, you know?
That, I can't tell you that. What he did say was that if you would like to attend that county chief meeting in September, you'd be more than, they'd be more than willing to have you attend that meeting to listen to the representatives that are there to push that.
Is the association going to be putting out invites to the municipalities?
I don't think they're going to invite them. I don't think they're going to send an invite direct, because all the fire chiefs already have a standing invite. Is that correct, Donnie?
Yes, the only thing they asked if you weren't going to meet there, you respond back to the meet there.
Did you get that? If you'd like to attend, you have to let Donnie know so they're sure they can include you in the meal. So I would say that you're all more than welcome to attend that meeting. I would just get a hold of Donnie and let Donnie know, and then he can make the arrangements for you to be able to attend that meeting.
Well, how about you just send, forward an email to our manager and he can put it out to us and if anyone's interested, they'll communicate it through our manager back to you. How's that?
Okay, that'll work, I can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry, I'm working, so, and I'm on earbuds, and I guess they're not working properly.
No worries, thank you. Any other questions?
Well, I guess just to follow up on that, is there an expectation that there's going to be some kind of county-wide proposal coming? That everybody's locked in on? Because, I know there's talk in other parts of the county already about implementing some of these kind of ideas. So, I guess it'd be helpful to know if there's something coming back out of that.
We don't know that. We don't know that. I'm sure that the initiative is to have it statewide because of the decline of volunteers. They've got to do something. This is one step they could take in the right direction, putting one foot in front of the other to maybe help sustain what they have left. So I'm assuming, my best guess would be yes, it's going to be pushed for hard statewide, in all municipalities, for sure countywide.
No, I guess there's no feeling on outside of the county per se, whether other associations yet.
No, but again, I'm saying that when the volunteers drop from 350,000 to 38,000, probably now down to 30, they've got to do anything to incentivize volunteers they can. So I don't think the state's sitting in any better a position than each municipality in how they address this issue. So they've got to do what they can do to make it.
Jim Black from Stevens. I think we can't wait. We as a township have to move forward, and if the state comes in and does something, that's great. But if they don't, we don't want to be sitting back another year from now wondering if we're going to do that. So moving forward with the plan that we have, we can always amend it and change it later. But as Scott said, we got to do something. And if we don't do something quickly, then things are going to change dramatically.
No, I hear you, I understand that. It's the devil's in the details.
I totally understand, and you made a comment about having a consistent way, and I know our car company's all for it. However we want to do it, let's get it done, we'll do it. I think it's a good start, and if we can increase volunteerism by 10 or 15%, that's a positive.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to Kelly a little more, just to kind of, he seemed to be the point man on this.
And no problem with that.
And just, exchange of ideas and it's a learning process for me too.
No problem. I just don't want it to stall just because this might happen.
No, I
move forward with it.
From my standpoint, I don't see that happening. I have two other board members.
No, I requested to keep it on the agenda so it doesn't get stalled or left behind. Because I think if we're the first to start something, I'd rather be a leader than a follower.
I agree.
So if everyone else comes up with one later, great, and we can amend it and come along. But if we can come up with a game plan and keep pushing forward and get it done, that's my goal, personally.
So it will stay on the agenda.
Just curious, what's happening to
Name, please.
West that we do vote for Stevens? Just curious, I heard recently that the fire companies aren't receiving the funds that you allocated to them.
You say you're not receiving funds.
Oh. Okay. Never mind, I'll let that.
What's that?
Nothing, never mind.
All right, moving on, public comments. Please state your name or any comments for non-agenda items.
Jim Black. At the last meeting in Reamstown for the Act 7, you had said that our paperwork to you was not correct or insufficient or anything.
I know we've submitted it the same way over and over, so my question is twofold. Number one, when did it change? That what we did before wasn't good enough? And two, we had resubmitted it all. Do you have it all back now, and is it satisfactory?
Is that what's in here? Okay, well, I was just handed to it right before the meeting.
Well,
so
I
don't.
It was submitted last October 22.
There was a letter. Are we talking about the letter that was sent to the township? There was a dollar figure for a piece of apparatus for a payment for that. And then the language said, and other general fund expenditures for the balance.
Correct. But we've been doing that for a while, so my question is, when did it change that you wanted specifically? I mean, it's easy to do, I can do that, or we can do that. But when did it change when that wasn't good enough?
Well, that was the request when there was a fuel reimbursement that we gave you last year.
This is different than that, that's why.
Well, that takes all the question out. Okay. You know, when you say other general fund expenditures, well, you know, what is that? So, I mean, it's just a little detail there. And there was another company representative that said perhaps we should change the language in that letter that came out. And
that's all well and good, we just want to tweak it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So we're trying to get all three companies to have last year's donations validated in a similar way.
Well, who's we? Well, we have not discussed that.
That's correct.
So now we're getting an envelope with I don't know what, because I don't know what's in there yet.
I don't either.
But it was still one person's request.
So
if that's the way we want to go, I'm fine with that. I'd like to see validation, but I personally didn't say to anybody how I want things or this is how I want it or nothing. If we want to go down that route, we can talk about it.
Did you think the letter that came validated all the dollars that were donated to the companies? You saw the one letter.
Well, what was the question you asked the companies, Chef? Because I don't know what you asked them for.
Well, it was said, it was actually you that read at that previous meeting, state law, that all donations need to be validated.
I read that it said yes.
Yes, and we did get legal clarification that should be done. So that's what's necessary to validate what was given last year.
We were always using financials in terms of the tax returns. Always. We had always used that, and we had always accepted that as East Cocalico as the tax returns for each of the fire companies. Some of the fire companies actually gave us more than that. It's sometimes.
The one company did provide complete financials with budgeting.
Right. So what I'm asking, and I agree with Lorenzo, is I don't understand when that changed because I'm looking at tax returns from the companies and I didn't even realize it. You know, here we are in June, and I didn't even realize it until now. Now I'm connecting the dots. Is we haven't given them their distribution on their funds, the $35,000 that you guys get from us. That's what you're waiting on. But we have the information from some of the companies. Some of them we don't, but we have it in the standard format. We've always got it.
From one, yes. So, how do you interpret the law that you read, that all donations need to be validated?
Validating is when I see a tax return that clearly indicates how the funds were spent, that's validation.
And, okay, I'll explain it a little differently. When we asked for validation of fuel receipts, we got a copy of a receipt and a copy of a canceled check.
You were asked.
So that would be similar to a donation that was put out, a canceled check or a receipt.
But you're
validation to it.
You're proving my point. We never discussed this. We never discussed this as a board to ask for specifics. The fuel item was very different. That was an ARPA-related item for a specific line item.
It
The
was.
specific line item was fuel.
It was.
It was an ARPA item which is subject to federal audits. That's very, very different than the act. Very, very different. So by automatically taking the Act 7 and applying it to what we did with the fuel, that's not what we have done.
That's right. So, okay.
So and we
Okay,
as a board,
let's-
Lorenzo, did we ever, I wasn't at the meeting, did you guys discuss this? I wasn't there.
There was
I
the,
was in the Caribbean drinking, talking to somebody. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, when they give us the tax returns, those tax returns have the information that we need. If we need more than that, and we've asked for more than that on some occasions in the past, for things related to the ambulance or every now and then related to something, we discuss it and we say why and we ask for that information.
are you ready to move forward with the information as received?
No, because it's still missing. It's still missing. The information that I have from some of the companies, yes, of course.
Okay.
The information, but one of them is missing. I don't have that information yet.
Okay. Make a motion, we'll go ahead and see if there's a second to pay it.
For what?
For the budgeted donations to the fire companies and
So-
ambulance.
For who?
There's a question in the back.
Yes, sir.
I think, Scott Oxley, Reamstown Fire. I still think that anybody's answered Jim's question. When did it change, how did it change, and why did it change? That's what we're looking for as an answer. It seems to me like there's two on the board that know nothing about it. There's one on the board that does. So you changed that. Why did it change and how did it get changed? I think that was his question, and that would be helpful for us to understand moving forward so we know what we're doing. We can't get blindsided and then you hold our money. If you look at all of our budgets, you're well aware that all of our budgets are way more than you give us. Way more. So you should have no doubt whether we're spending that money in a way that is beneficial to our community. I don't think there's any doubt. But when you come back with these kinds of requests, after we've done it the same way for years, throw us under the bus a meeting, 3 meetings ago, and tell us that we're the bad guys, that we didn't supply the information, is what you said at the meeting,
I don't.
quite frankly.
Come on now.
That hurts us a little bit. It makes us feel just kind of a little belittled. So we probably need to know moving forward. So if it has to be reciprocating, we can't keep coming here and saying, well, this guy said this, that guy said that, that guy said that. Somebody's got to own up to what's going on and why it's changed, for what reason, for what purpose.
Me personally, being you guys' second year on board, right?
What's that? Yeah.
Me personally, this is gonna be the second time I'd be seconding or whatever, signing the check for the fire companies, right?
Yeah.
Last year, I may have not have asked as many questions as I should have because I was still new learning the process. But just because there is a process doesn't mean it's the right way, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
We're just saying if you change the process.
Personally, I'm speaking for myself because I have not spoken to either board member yet. But now that we're in conversation, personally, if we give you guys $10, I'd like to see a way to check what the $10 is spent for, personally. But we have not discussed that. So the $35,000, I personally like to see a way to check or how it was spent or whatever. But that's personally, without talking to the other two.
Do you know how hard? So all we need to, what you're telling us is, we just need to come up with $35,000 worth of bills, because we can't show you where your $35,000 went. We have no idea. We're not going to put East Cocalico's money in its own little account, write checks off of that till it's gone. So if you're really still not getting a true of what you want.
Scott, let me answer.
So the accountability is, we like, for our letter, we always state that it's all of our heating, cooling, fuel, it's maintenance on our equipment.
You could tell us you spent $35,000 on fuel, for example.
Right.
And you did it. but that's what you told us. You follow what I'm saying?
No, I get there's gotta be accountability. The fact of the matter is that you're giving us $35,000 in, let's say in Reamstown, for just about a $900,000 budget. Do you think that we can scramble that money away and not spend it for something that's beneficial to our department? How do you think we could do that? That's my problem.
Let me give you an example. Excuse me, let me give you an example. Okay. I had to dig through my computer to find it, and I found it. Okay. So, let me use a great example and be very transparent here. So Stevens Fire Company sent us a letter on October 11th, 2022. Okay. And dig through my files to find it. So that letter contains within it, which is what we have always done. We've always done this. A copy of the tax returns for Stevens Fire Company for including all assets, liabilities, net assets for Stevens Fire Company.
Did we get that for 2022?
For year ending, this is for year ending 21 and 20. I'm just.
22 didn't happen yet.
It didn't happen yet. So I'm just using this as an example. You're asking a different question. So as an example, we got all that information, all the assets, all the liabilities, we got the tax return, we got the same from your company in the past. Okay? And we got it in the past also. This one says, and I'll just read the letter, it says, "Dear Lisa, regarding your letter dated September 23rd pertaining to Act 207 of 08, we deposited $35,000 donation in our general fund, period. We used that amount of we used the amount of $32,209.93 for our yearly payment of our new truck, period. The remainder was left in the general fund to pay bills. As always, we appreciate East Cocalico's vote." So that's what you guys have always done, and that's what we've always relied on. So just to clarify the exact example of how it was always done.
But we're saying now they're requiring more, which is okay, as long as we have sufficient time to supply that and have a reason why we're now supplying that. And that, I think, is what we're looking for.
Well, I think when you look at the language of the law, we all want to comply with the law, right? It says validation of donations that have been given out. And, I'll go back to the ARPA situation again. There's no question when you have a canceled check and a receipt. Here it is. There's no question.
So if they give you a check for $1,000 of Kit Kats and $1,000 of water and $10,000 of gas, that's what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna get.
There's no questions there. There it is.
I get, you're missing the point though.
Okay.
Is who decided this? When did it get decided? How did it, apparently the board did not decide this. Apparently you decided this is the way it has to be. And that's the point I'm trying to get to. Shouldn't those decisions be made as a board and then come back to the three departments and say, hey, we're going to change our policy. This is what we like from you guys moving forward, instead of one person changing the rules and nobody knows about it, including the departments that are supposed to supply the information. Is that a more logical way?
Fair enough. When the law was read, discussion probably should have been happening right there and then, right?
Well, not in 2008 or
No, I mean,
2007. That's when it was written.
So
And that's how long we've been doing it.
Just to kind of reiterate, because we could talk about this till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? I think his point is, that, I guess that was his wish, because I didn't say it and I know RC did it. Or to his point, RC read the law that night, and he's saying we should have had that discussion right there and then, but it never happened. So perhaps someone from a department spoke to Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell said that without talking to the board, and that's the way they went. That's the wrong way. It's the wrong way.
We need to continually move forward.
So
we need to have a transparency.
So perhaps for future, this year, it is what it is for future, right? The board discusses how we, what, how, who,
Yeah.
what, where, when, why, and that'll be in the next year's letter.
Yeah,
And we'll move forward together in a positive way. Gotta look at the positives, because if we keep arguing and going at each other, we're not getting anywhere.
I agree
We're
with
just
you.
digging a hole. If we truly care about this community, we have to work together. That's everybody. Whether you like it or not.
All right, so, okay, let's take it forward. He's saying what's in here is the validation.
What you asked me for, Bridgestown's me.
Okay,
With the cancel checks and all.
okay, great. Great.
So I'm gonna say that the other two organizations gave you that and the Adamstown Library? Because you requested the same out of all of us, because you donated all
No,
of
we
us.
don't have ours together yet, no.
When the letter was sent out in September, I believe September 23rd, to all three companies,
You're not getting a 2022 PL though.
and the, I think it was an email plus a hard copy.
We
And, you know, we got a response from.
You got a response from me then.
Now, just hold on.
To be clear, everyone, this requirement is specifically of the fire companies in the second-class township code.
So, within, I think, within 2 weeks in October, we had the complete financials, budget, everything from Smokestown Fire Company. We did receive your letter that talked about the payment on a vehicle plus other general expenses, and we're still waiting on the rest. So,
You mean the rest of the company's information?
the rest of the information.
Because like I say, our 2022 PO, you're not gonna get, because why don't they?
Well, no, that's fine. This
But that's not in there.
This was good enough for ARPA. I think it covers the requirement of the law.
But again, what we're saying is you personally have changed your requirements without coming through the board or the organization. You did that to me personally at Reedstown's meeting, said this letter isn't good enough, I want this. And that's what you got sitting there. And every one of them got a copy of it. And that's, but who are you to do that?
We're ready to move ahead.
I'm glad you are, but you're pushing it under the rug and saying screw everybody. Let's deal with the problem. Who are we to change it?
I've already stated
So
that.
Chad, real quick, instead of jumping off a bridge when he told you to jump off a bridge, why didn't you guys come?
Because he
tonight?
said he's not giving us our money until we produce that.
Well,
That's exactly what he said.
The money's not on the agenda to give anyway yet, but.
It's budgeted, according to you, it's there.
I
That's
understand.
according to the new philosophy.
I understand. I understand.
But again, he said you're not getting it until I get this information. So that is from his mouth to my lips. That's why I was pissed off when I walked away from that table that night before your meeting started. Jeff, better let Masadi, he was laughing when I was giving you that crap.
Let's take
move on.
Let's take a step back.
Well, let's figure out what you want. Tell us the right way to want.
Chief, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Let's take a step back. There is a lot of additional, I just glanced through this. There's a lot of additional information here that I have never seen from the other fire companies, period. Fact, okay? We have donation money for them. We have a consistent manner in how we've handled it for decades, Alan? Decades. Not a year or two, decades,
Fine, make a motion to pay.
okay?
Make a motion to pay.
You don't need it.
We don't need it. It's not on the agenda, I'm not gonna do it now, because here's why. We still don't have one company's completed documents. You can't pay all of it.
That's correct.
And
So we're waiting.
But hence the point. So we did not get, as Scott Hockey, by the way, we didn't get a hard copy of the letter, which we always get. We got an email to me. Apparently, I didn't get the email, or I lost it, or I overlooked it. It comes to my work email. I probably just totally flew by it. So professionally speaking, I think a letter to the fire department is a much better route to go when you're dealing with funds like this, not an email to the fire chief.
Take note of that for next.
So I think that should always be a hard copy, and I don't think, and that just changed last year, so it was always,
That's noted already.
okay, it was always a hard copy to that point. But yeah, I agree, let's not back up and beat this to death. But I still don't understand why, you say you don't have, we supplied the letter like we always do. And we'll supply anything else we do annually. They're trying now to get this additional stuff that Jeff requested so that we can get our funding. So there I have to agree with Chad because we were basically told the same thing. Our funds aren't released until we supply X, and X. And we were totally blindsided. And that all came from one supervisor, which is really frustrating to us.
I'm not sure we received the letter.
You did receive the letter because I gave it to you at the last meeting. I gave it to you personally. So I know you have the letter.
Okay, we'll review that.
The reason you probably got email was we were managerless at the time. So,
Which good, I'm just saying,
secretary probably
I'm
sent
just
out
a
the
lowly
email.
little fire chief. You can't consider me responsible.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I mean, you know I'm a stickler for documentation, you know that. Let me clarify something. Tommy, we should, and for the board, you guys agree or not, in the past, we sent the letters out, we also sent an email. We sent both every single time. So it should not just be a letter, it should also be via email with everyone on copy so that everyone knows you guys got it, it went out. Okay?
More information is better.
More information is better. Okay? So where we stand right now then is I have the stuff that we need for Stevens. I've got to find it. I know I've seen it here. I haven't seen the other stuff, Scott.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I know that our letter was given, but I don't know that all that other stuff, I believe they're still trying to get together.
So I would ask you, if you don't mind, double check, send that into the manager to send to us as a fresh copy, please.
Yep.
But it's gotta be noted, this is worse than pulling teeth. Every year, I was attending meetings prior to me being on the board. Every year, this $35,000 donation is worse than pulling teeth. I don't understand. I just don't get it. Shouldn't be this hard.
I don't think you're unreasonable asking for what you're asking for. All we're saying is get together as a board, decide what you want, bring the fire departments in, explain to them, or explain to us in the letter what you want, and then give us sufficient time to get that information back to you. That's all I think, that's all we're asking for anyway, let me put it that way.
And we have inconsistent information we're now getting from the three fire companies. We've got more from one, we've got less from, I'm just making it up, less from another, the stuff we got in the past from another. It's got to be consistent across the board. And we're creating, we're creating confusion.
This happens when we don't have a unified board. It all starts here. It all starts here. We set the precedents to our taxpayers. And if we can't get along and we can't work well together, this is the outcome. And I'm ashamed of saying it. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell. I just want to thank the board and Tommy for your patience and tolerance during public comment. If I'm not mistaken, meeting etiquette is a comment and a response, and we move on. You guys sit up there and you tolerate the back and forth banter, you tolerate the raised voices, and I commend you for your patience and not responding in time. And I'm hoping that it's a sign as we move forward as a township that will continue to foster cooperation among everybody and mutual respect in how we deal with and how we talk to people. So thank you for your patience. Matt, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think meeting etiquette in this situation is during public comment, and it's a comment or response, and it moves on to the next comment.
Alan, I told this board they are the most generous board I represent.
Agreed.
Comes to,
I've listened to Zoom meetings from other townships, and they gavel with the first integrated voice.
yeah.
So thank you guys for your patience and your willingness to listen and hear us out despite the attacks upon you at times. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Kerry Hobbs. Township, does it have plenty of water for all the recycling that's going on? And the pumping stations and the sewers, of everything that people want to invest in? Do we have enough water?
That question actually goes to the water authority. They're the ones that make the call and approve if we have enough water or sewer for anything that goes in our township.
And they would have annual reports of their engineer that documents the supply and capacity to serve. So attend an authority meeting and ask them, or go to the authority office. I know on the sewer side is the Chapter 94 report. I forget what it is on water, but they would have all that information for you.
They have monthly public meetings with public comment.
Well, I mean,
So
does the board get the paperwork from them?
they're an independent entity.
Yeah, they manage the water and sewer supply for the township.
Okay, because there's, right up here, they're having a plastic plastic.
The warehouse, the recycle center, the recycle center. Yeah.
Okay, then we have another company that wants to put in other things.
So first of all, Pure Cycle has repeatedly represented that they're doing no washing and cleaning. They're just doing sorting.
Okay, this gentleman here that's sitting here, he said there was 213 employees that they're looking to hire. Okay, do we have enough water for that complete system?
Okay. All right, so how that works is, if they ever get the opportunity to ask, which they're far from that, then they have to submit their plans to the authority, and the authority has to issue what's called a capacity to serve letter. So every plan goes to the authority with a request for water capacity and sewer capacity, and the water, and then the authority makes those determinations. And we, here at this board, then takes that information from the authority as verified.
Because I'm just asking, we have enough pumping stations and everything to take care of all of it?
Every plan that has come before this board so far, the water, or I'm sorry, I keep calling it the water authority. The authority has said, yes, there is sufficient capacity, sufficient sewer to serve. If they ever say there isn't, we'll know that too.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Our next board of
Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Someone, I believe Caleb Growl on Zoom has a question. If you want to go ahead and ask your question. Put it in the chat. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
My question is to the board.
What's your name, please?
Caleb Brawl.
Thank you.
Who's liable for the weeds on township property on Hill Road and the weeds that are growing up in the curb on Ironwood Court and Hill Road?
That's ours.
If it's township property, it would be us.
Yeah.
Yes,
Including the road.
including the right of way.
Okay, can we, I guess my question to the board is, can we look into maintaining that?
Yeah, is there a specific spot that, that you're talking about? That way we can let the road crew know tomorrow?
And specifically up at the Heatherwood
He's talking about right here.
area. So if you're looking, if you're going up Hill Road, you'll see it on the left-hand side.
The apartment entrance of Heatherwoods on the left, if you're going up Hill Road?
Yes, you'll see it specifically growing up past the sidewalk.
Right
It's on the Barnstone Court.
That's.
Yeah, I think I know where you're talking about. Yep. Yep. That's noted. Anything else?
That's it, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a
Name,
concern
please.
with,
Name, please.
sorry, Kurt Burkholder.
Thank you.
I have a concern with the township manager policy concerning letting yous know that there's a possible ordinance violation. My understanding is if I'm not willing to put my name on a complaint, it doesn't get followed through. I gotta be willing that if he goes somewhere and somebody says, well, who complained? He'll tell them my name. So if, in essence, if you're in a dispute with your neighbor, you have a potential war going on, that you reported something on them, and you gotta live next door to that person, I don't know if it's his policy or your policy. When an ordinance violation is brought to your attention to look into it, you know, you gotta be willing to put your name to it.
I have
I just-
followed up on anonymous complaints, where one I did recently, that came in the mail.
Well, you have.
If somebody complains anonymously, I follow up on it. If somebody complains in person, in writing, or giving me a call, lets me know who they are, I'll follow up on that complaint, and I won't name the individual with the follow-up. But if a resident asks who complained, as I explained to folks before I do this, I won't lie. If I have the information, I'll be honest, which is why I tell folks who do complain by email, if you want me to follow up, this is what I do. I'm not going to lie to somebody. If I have information, I'll share it.
But then you, as an individual resident, run the risk of being at war with that person.
Which is why I always tell folks, I'll be glad to follow up. I won't identify you in my initial letter, but if somebody asks if I know, I'll be honest. And I'll respect the decision if you want me to go forward or not.
Well, that's where I got the problem. Because if they say, well, you complained, you're gonna say so-and-so, and if you're living next door with them, you got a potential war going on.
I understand and I agree with you, which is why I always explain what I just explained to residents.
But they're breaking an ordinance, it shouldn't matter who complained. If they're breaking an ordinance that the board has passed in this township, it should be your job to follow through on it. Whether, you know, I don't feel you should be giving the name out. That's my thinking.
And after so many years of working in local government, I can tell you without hesitation, the results are much better when the neighbor works with another neighbor than getting the government involved, getting local government involved. But again, I follow up on everything that comes into this office, anonymous or not.
I just want to know if you two are aware of that policy. So, I'm just thinking of the potential war you could have with a neighbor until one of you decide to move. So just want to bring that to your attention.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
You brought up an idea, and you say that you
What's your name
give the
again?
name-
Sorry? Dave?
Harry Hobbs, and you give the name out. Well, what happens when the township screws up? Do you still give the name of the complaint to the person?
I don't understand the question.
Township screwed up, okay? So you say that you give the name of the complaint. If I would complain to to you that the township messed up, and you're gonna give my name out to who I'm gonna complain about?
We just said the township screwed up, so who
Yeah.
would he be giving your name out to? I don't get it. Be giving it to the township if we screwed up.
Well, that's what I'm asking. You just said he's.
What our manager said, if you were to file a complaint anonymously on me, per se, if you want him to follow up, and I were to ask who filed the complaint, and your name's on the letter, he's not gonna lie, he's gonna tell me, Mr. Haas filed a complaint.
Okay. Even
That's
though
what
the
he just
township
said.
made a problem,
Excuse me?
even though the township made the problem. So you and I are gonna have a problem because the township screwed up. And that's what he's talking about, that's what you're saying.
Well, I think the gentleman's concern, Mr. Burkholder, correct?
Yes.
His concern is completely different than what you're stating here.
I'm just asking, you're gonna give the name out because you and I have a difference, and the township screwed up.
All right, our next Board of Supervisors meeting is scheduled for July 20th at 7 p.m. here at the Township Building. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries, thank you.
In your brain out.
Evening, sir, how are you?
Okay, Tim.
Awesome, thank you.
Hopefully.
You got that? So I complained that Terry's weeds are too hot. Are you complaining that my weeds are too hot?